What is going on, guys? This is Jake at That Fit Friend, and today we're going to be talking about great shoes to deadlift in. So I have a ton of different shoes up here, all for different needs and wants. So just like our other videos that we've done on roundups, I'm going to truncate all these shoes into different buckets based on the context of your wants and needs in regards to great shoes that excel for deadlifts. So that all being said, make sure you check out the timestamps down below so you can jump around, and that way you don't waste your time watching the whole video. You can find exactly what you need, get your information, and then get about your day and go train. With all that being said, let's go ahead and first discuss why all these shoes are up here and what actually makes a great deadlift shoe in the first place. So when considering different shoes that can excel for deadlifts, I'm looking for three different things. Number one is the overall stability of the shoe. This means that the shoe's sole and its construction can withstand different loads and not compress very easily. This is also why we don't want to deadlift heavy weight with something like a running shoe, which will be prone to a bit more compression throughout your overall lifting mechanics. The second aspect I'm looking for is the shoe's overall stack height. So basically, stack height is the amount of material that separates the foot from the floor. With deadlift specifically, you're generally going to want a shoe with a lower stack height. A higher stack height is going to add more range of motion to your pull, and it can actually change your setup mechanics a little bit. The third aspect that I'm looking for and considering is the overall heel to toe drop in the shoe. Generally with deadlift shoes, you're going to want a 0 drop or a 0 millimeter heel to toe drop, or at least something on the lower end of a heel to toe drop, because the more we then elevate the heel, we're then going to create a more positive shin angle, which is going to bring the knee forward, which can then create a little bit of a discrepancy in our pulling mechanics, because then we have to worry about clearing the knees and setting our hips slightly differently than if we had a flatter surface. But that all being said, and adding a little bit of context into why all of these shoes are up here, let's go ahead and dive into our first category. Our first category is great budget-friendly shoes for deadlift. So all of the models up here are well under $100 USD. So if you are shopping for a shoe that you can wear for other things outside of deadlifts, but also save a little bit of money with, these are all fantastic options. So we have the Converse Chuck Taylor All-Star, the Vans Authentic, and the Zero Shoes Prio. Now, these two models are a little bit more of like your more casual wear shoes outside of the gym, and then the Zero Shoes Prio is a barefoot shoe. So the Converse Chuck Taylor All-Star comes in at a price of $60 USD. It has that rubber sole, so you're not going to worry about compression. And honestly, when it comes to deadlifts and training and powerlifting, this is kind of like a gold standard model that a lot of lifters actually start with. So it's really difficult to go wrong with the Converse Chuck Taylor All-Star, especially if you're just starting out and you're trying to save a little bit of money. The Vans Authentic, similar to the Converse Chuck Taylor All-Star, is like one of those shoes that a lot of lifters start with. I started my powerlifting journey with this model, and overall, it is going to be plenty stable. It has that vulcanized rubber sole, has that waffle tread, and it's $50 USD. So it's really tough to fault that price and that classic Vans look. The only thing with the Vans model is that it does have a slightly higher stack height. However, I think for most recreational and beginning lifters, that's not going to be the hugest deal, especially when just starting out and trying to save a little bit of money on their first shoe that they can train in. The Zero Shoes Prio is our one barefoot shoe up here. This model comes in at a price of $90 USD. If you're trying to get into barefoot shoes for the first time, or if you're just looking for a budget-friendly model, it's tough to fault this shoe. It is designed for training, so you can wear it to the gym, etc. And it has an insole that comes out, and it has a finished internal construction, so you don't have to worry about that exposed construction on the inside of the shoe with this model, and you're going to get really close to the ground. Of these three shoes, the Zero Shoes Prio has the lowest stack height, so you can get closest to the ground with this model. However, it is a barefoot shoe, so its overall intent of use is going to be slightly differently. If you want a shoe for more casual wear to wear outside of the gym, these two options are really good to look into. And if you want a barefoot shoe to train in and just wear for your deadlifts, etc., the Zero Shoes Prio is an awesome option as well. Our next category is great cross-training and functional fitness oriented shoes that work really well for heavy deadlifts. So I have three models up here, including the Strike Movement Haze Trainer, the Nike Metcon 6, and the Zero Shoes 360. So all of these shoes work really well in cross-training settings, and they can handle heavier loads. But why is that? So with the Haze Trainer, you have a 4mm heel toe drop, a medium density midsole, and a toe box that is, I think, plenty wide for most folks to really splay those toes and grip the floor. For all these reasons, I like this shoe for heavy deadlifts because you can go really hard in this model for cross training and it feels awesome, and it is stable for heavy deadlifts. With the Nike Metcon 6, similarly, you're going to get a nice durable upper construction. You have a lot of construction features designed for CrossFit style training, and the overall sole construction in the Nike Metcon 6 is very stable. I don't think you're going to have any issues with this model in regard to stability, and this model also has a 4mm heel toe drop. with the Zero Shoes 360. This is our one barefoot shoe up here. This is actually Zero Shoes' first model designed for cross training and more CrossFit style workouts. And across the board, just like with most barefoot shoes, you're gonna get really close to the ground with this model. The stack height of the sole is 5 millimeters, and you could take that insole out in this model, similar to the other Zero Shoes training shoes. So you can get really close to the ground with this model, but I will say this is a barefoot shoe, so if you're not used to this style of footwear for cross training, you may want to acclimate first, obviously, before just slapping these on and using them for like your hardcore CrossFit workouts. But if you are interested in a barefoot shoe designed a bit more for tackling cross training and CrossFit workouts, it's hard to front the Zero Shoes 360, and across the board, it is going to be plenty stable and give you a nice close to the ground feeling with deadlifts. Our next category includes shoes that are really great for deadlifts that are also really great for powerlifting. So we have three models up here. We have the Sabo Deadlift Shoes, the Lifting Large Ground Lock Deadlift Slippers, and the Vivo Barefoot Primus Light 3s. So all three of these models work really well for powerlifting, and now obviously the slippers and the deadlift shoes are a bit more niche in nature, but all three of these models work well for competition and pulling heavy ass weight. So with the Primus Light 3, why do I like this for powerlifting? For starters, it's a barefoot shoe, so it's gonna give you a very minimalist stack height. So you can remove the insole in this model too and get incredibly close to the ground. There's a ton of maneuverability here, and the toe box is plenty wide to give you plenty of room to really splay those toes. Plus, with the overall rubber outsole construction, you can grip that floor really well, and this model works for day-to-day wear and your regular training. So if you are somebody who really wants to optimize your footwear choice for deadlifts, but you also want a shoe that you can use for other forms of training, the Primus Light 3 is a great option. The ground lock deadlift slippers are also another viable option. Now obviously this is a slipper and it's not technically a shoe, but if you are looking for something that's very budget friendly and very like kind of minimalist and flat to the ground, this model is also good. The Notorious Lift deadlift slippers are also awesome. I would say check those out if you are looking into slippers for your deadlifts. But across the board, we have two straps up here to help kind of lock down that foot and feel, and we have a full rubber sole with this model, so you can grip the floor really well if you're pulling sumo or conventionally. It doesn't really matter with the shoe. With the Sabo deadlift shoe, similarly, we're gonna have a full rubber outsole to grip the floor with. We're gonna have a zero drop construction, and why I like this model is because we'd have two additional straps and a higher boot. So if you like a little bit more ankle support and a little bit more material around the ankle, this is a good model for tackling deadlifts in, and it is designed for deadlift, so it's very specific to that performance ask. So if you are that powerlifter that does want a pair of like dedicated deadlift shoes just for your deadlift sessions, the Sabo deadlift shoe is a viable option to look into. Our final category includes awesome barefoot shoes that really work well for deadlifts. So in reality, most barefoot shoes are going to work for deadlifts just due to their stack height, their drop, etc. But these are three of my favorites that I also use for other forms of training. So we have the Vivo Barefoot Primus Light 3, the Zero Shoes Prio, and the Zero Shoes 360. And I like all these models for slightly different reasons. The Primus Light 3, I like primarily because you can wear it on a day-to-day basis, and it's very consistent across the board with your other forms of training. It's really tough to fault this model, especially when it just comes to its overall durability for recreational training and how it performs with deadlifts. The Zero Shoes Prio is not necessarily the most pretty and aesthetic model. However, its price point is what wins me over. At $90 USD, I think this is a really good budget-friendly, like beginner barefoot shoe. So if you are looking into barefoot shoes, especially for deadlifts, the Prio is a good option if you're trying to save a little bit of money, because the Primus Light 3 comes in at $150 versus this model, which is $90. The final model up here is the Zero Shoes 360. So as previously mentioned in our cross training section, this model is going to be best for the person that wants a barefoot shoe for more functional fitness and cross training style workouts. So we have some additional rubber ribs up here throughout the midfoot and a slightly more beefed up construction when it comes to its overall durability. So this model is going to give you that nice barefoot feel, but it's also going to have some upper construction to help prevent early breakdown from things like rope climbs, toe dragging movements, etc. So for my barefoot focused friends who want a great model for deadlifts, the Primus Light 3 is one of my favorites because you can wear it for day-to-day wear, regular training, and deadlifts. The Prio is awesome for my budget conscious shoppers, and the Zero Shoes 360 is great for my more cross training / CrossFit focused lifters who want a barefoot shoe for tackling those workouts. All right, guys, that wraps up this roundup of great shoes that excel for deadlifts in a bunch of different contexts and settings. Hopefully this video provided you with a couple of ideas and options per the context of your needs and wants. If you have any questions on the shoes up here and the one slipper, hit me in the comment below or reach out to me personally, whichever you prefer. And as always, guys, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next one.